Welcome back to BSTT. It's Ben here, and today a lot of NBA stuff happened, so let's get right into it. So today there was a blockbuster, if you could call it that, trade that happened between the Pacers and Kings, where Domantas Sabonis, Justin Holiday, and Jeremy Lamb all went to Sacramento for Buddy Hield, Tyrese Halliburton, and Tristan Thompson. Right off the bat, when you look at this trade, the two big pieces are Tyrese Halliburton and Sabonis. So I think personally Halliburton's better because he averages not the same stats, but like their points per game. They're not similar really, but I think Halliburton's better because of the skill he shows on such a bad team. Also because he's much younger and he's, in my opinion, not 10, but top 15 players like that are in their first or second year. He's a really solid player, and in a few years, like I give it 3, he's going to be an all-star. And then on the other side, we have someone like Sabonis, who he's a borderline all-star. He's been an all-star the last few years, and he's putting up not really good, actually. He's putting up solid stats, like just about 20 and 10, but I think he's not as good as Halliburton because he's starting to get up there in age. Also because he's playing alongside Malcolm Brogdon, and yet they have a bunch of solid role players, and they weren't doing that well. I expected them in the beginning of the year to be like the 5 seed, and they're not that. So I could see why he got traded, but I don't get how this trade went down. Also, looking how Buddy Hield was on the other side. Buddy Hield is a solid player. He's a solid starter who I'd have him start on my team, and he's good. He can. Over the past, his numbers haven't been as good. Like, he's had some good years, some bad years, and he's not a consistent player, but he's a good player. And then you also have Justin Holiday, who I think has not a lot of potential, but I think he's going to have a good year for the rest of the year, but after that, I think he's going to be done. I think at the end of this year, he's going to average 12.1 points per game, but that's just like a hot take. He probably is only going to average like 10, something like that. But, so you also have Tristan Thompson, who I think him and Jeremy Lamb are the same in this trade. They both brought like no value because they're both not in the twilight of their career, but they're like starting to get up there in age, and neither of them have had a solid season in a few years. So I think Kings got fleeced here, and the Pacers won because they got Tyrese Halliburton, who was the best player out of all of them in this. Moving on, there is another really big trade between the Trailblazers and the Pels. So, looking at it, it's basically CJ for everyone else. But, so, it was CJ, Larry Nance Jr., and Tony Snell all went to New Orleans for Tomas Satoransky, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Josh Hart, and D.D. Louzada. And Portland also got a first and 2 seconds. But I think, whoever got CJ here, which was the Pels, they killed it. They got an all-star for for 2 solid players. Scrub. I don't want to call Tomas Satoransky a scrub, but yeah, scrub, and some guy I've never heard of, and a first and a second. So that's good, but the first is either going to become someone really good or a bust. I'm calling it like that. But Larry Nance Jr., this is the guy I'm going to talk about right now. I think he's not going to have a breakout year this year, but I think he's going to have a really solid end of the year. I can see him averaging 10.7 points per game and 6 boards. because I don't think Zion's going to play the rest of the year. So I could see him just play the starting power forward position and use all that minutes to his advantage and get the opportunity he never had. But once again, Tony Snell is just like Tristan Thompson in the last trade, where he's getting older and at the end of his career, and he was just like an extra man in this trade. But Josh Hart, quickly, let's talk about this guy. He is having a good year. I think he might have a solid year for the rest of it. I think he's going to average 15.8 points per game, because I think Dame's going to be traded in the next few days, and then if there's that open position where there's no one, and by open position I mean there's no one on the team that's good, someone's got to score points, and it's going to be Josh Hart. He's going to have 15.8 points per game. And Nickeil Alexander-Walker is going to average something solid, like 9.8, something like that. He's a solid player. Hopefully he channels his brother's spirit for the rest of the season and plays good, especially for the Blazers' sake, because their whole team wants out and they're all leaving. Next, let's talk about Bradley Beal having a season-ending surgery. So the surgery is on his wrist, and it's because he had a torn ligament there. What I think this means for the Wizards is, you might be thinking that they're just going to fall off and finish in dead last, but I think the opposite. I think without Beal, I think Dinwiddie's going to pop off the rest of the year. I could see him averaging for the rest of the season 22 points per game. I think the Wizards are going to be the 8th seed this year, which right now they're 6 wins, actually not the 8th seed, they're 6 wins back. That's kind of hard to make up. Let's say I'm sticking with it, the 8th seed. The Wizards are going to be the 8th seed, and Montrezl Harrell is also going to average like 18. I think without Beal, they're giving some of their other players more minutes, and they're playing kind of better. Like Dinwiddie, back before the whole KD, Kyrie, Harden era in the Nets, which has only been a year and it's going to end soon. But before that, he averaged in the 20s for points per game. But now, with Beal and Montrezl having a good year, he was averaging like 13.2 or something like that. But if one of them's out, like without Beal, Dinwiddie's going to pop off and average 22, like I said before. Thanks for watching, and have a nice day. Also, please like and sub and watch the other videos. I will be trying to upload as much as I can from now on. But have a nice day, and peace.